And welcome to In Focus, everybody. I'm Curtis McLeod in for Allison Walker. Talk to local chambers of commerce and you'll hear a common theme, a new wave of startup businesses. These new startups are either mobile or working out of their homes. In Focus's Celeste Springer explains why some are taking a leap of faith to get to work on their own terms.
Jorge Figueroa works primarily on cars, refurbishing them, cleaning them, but he enjoys seeing the faces of everyone behind them.
For anything that has to do with dealing with people, for me, it's great satisfaction.
Before he started doing this, there were some faces he missed dearly. Jorge spent 20 years traveling the world in the military and later as a U.S. contractor. He spent the pandemic abroad, unable to see his own family. He knew he needed to be back home, and an online search led him to being a franchisee with Fibrenew.
And before you know it, I was into it. I was like, this is something I can do that'll keep me here, keep me home, and I'll satisfy that promise that I made to my family.
After the pandemic, people like Jorge sought out franchising opportunities where they could be in the business for themselves, but not by themselves. And a survey by the Franchise Business Review shows that franchisees are experiencing more work satisfaction than prior to the pandemic.
I just go out every day looking for opportunities, looking for business. This is all I got.
And others have started their own business, with 2021 seeing the highest number of new business applications for any year on record. Here locally, the St. Cloud Chamber of Commerce says they've seen a stark rise in self-starters.
According to my friends at City Hall, we're looking at somewhere between 35 and 40% of the businesses in St. Cloud are home-based.
Jorge says he's not surprised by these numbers, as many are looking for new options.
The way things are happening in today's society, people are wanting to go explore different things and work for themselves versus working for somebody else.
With one kid off to college and another finishing high school, Jorge is focusing on being there for his family. The pandemic wiped away precious time, but if there's anything he knows from his line of work, sometimes you just need a clean slate. Reporting in Osceola County, Celeste Springer, Spectrum News.
All right, thanks so much, Celeste. So here are, of course, things we want to talk about, all related to small businesses and Small Business Week. We have Commissioner Catherine Starkey, District 3 in Pasco County, Rebekah Arthur, the President and CEO of the Seminole County Chamber of Commerce, and Lauren Miller, Vice President at J. Wayne Miller and the Manager of South Seminole Business and Storage. Two small businesses in Seminole County. I want to thank you all for being here with us on In Focus this week. All right, so want to go ahead. Good morning. Good morning. Want to go ahead and get things started right now. So Rebekah, let's talk about this trend regarding working away from a traditional brick and mortar shop. Now, was it the pandemic that blossomed this, or has this been coming for years? It's just now looking like a radical shift in philosophy.
I think the pandemic just accelerated it. We've been seeing more and more people move to starting their dreams and their own businesses. And with the change in technology and COVID changing the way people are able to work, it just accelerated it. And we're seeing a boom in entrepreneurs in Seminole County.
All right, so Lauren, what are the pros and cons of working independently like that? What kind of pitfalls do small businesses, they need to watch out for?
Sure, absolutely. Good morning. There are definitely some advantages to being a small business, and then, of course, also some challenges as well. Some of the larger companies do have some competitive advantages as far as greater economies of scale if you're looking to get in some products versus services. Sometimes we have more limited access to capital as a small business, sometimes increased regulatory burdens that we have to deal with. But being a small business, in my opinion, is fantastic because the decision-making process is very streamlined. When we work with our clients and provide our services, it's with full transparency. That way they know exactly what they're getting and what to expect, and we can deliver exceptional customer service that way and make sure that our clients are happy with working with us.
I know customer service, of course, is a very important factor. Commissioner Starkey, want to bring you in here. Here we are now, 3 years, after the pandemic was in full force. Now, it changed the way we do a lot of things. I mean, changed the way of life for a lot of people, shopping, working. What have been the impacts you've seen on small businesses?
Actually, I think what's happened here in Pasco County is we have a lot of people who maybe left the corporate world and started out on their entrepreneurial dream. And we have been helping them here at Pasco County with different kinds of loans and grants to help them get on their way. So we are really focused on helping these entrepreneurs be successful. And we even have a small business called Starkey Market where we help those people who are starting new companies with our food incubator. We sell their products in our market, and I think it's going great here. So it's been an interesting experience.
Definitely. So I want to back up just a little bit. Rebekah, I know we probably should have talked about this off the top, but can you define it for us? What is the definition of a small business? Does it have to do with the number of employees, owners, footprint?
I think that depends on who you ask. With some industries, they say less than 500 employees. Other people think of a small business as someone who only has 1 or 2 or maybe 5 employees. So it really depends on the industry. To us, it's any business that is still in growth mode and is looking for resources and trying to establish their footprint.
And Rebekah, I want to also ask you, what do the stats say about failure rates for small businesses? Am I right in remembering basically if you can survive past a certain point or past a certain amount of time, you should be less susceptible to having to close up shop, right?
Yeah, the first 2 years are the riskiest in any industry. And a lot of it is making sure that those first couple years you're establishing your business the right way. We are working really hard with our Economic Development Committee and the SBDC to connect entrepreneurs with those resources that are available in the community and get them on the right path from the very beginning.
And, Lauren, where is this money coming from for all of these startups? I know it takes a lot to start up a business. My own grandmother running a restaurant herself. It took a lot for her to start up that business in the 70s and then keep it going for decades and decades. I mean, nowadays, where's all that money coming from? How much does it take to even start your own business? And what's the paperwork like? And what's the red tape that you may have to navigate through if you should choose to go out on your own and say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Our commercial real estate company has been in business over 40 years, our business and storage park over 30. And obviously my husband's family got that going for us. So I am lucky that they established it and kept up with it the way they have. And I'm continuing that momentum. At our business and storage park specifically, we are a small business incubator. We offer month-to-month leases on office space with a minimal rent overhead of maybe a few $100s to get started, because we know and can appreciate all of the other costs and requirements that you are going to have as a business. You've got your insurance, you've got your license, you have to register with the state, and each industry carries its own set of requirements in addition to that. So it is very difficult to get started, especially if you don't have partners you can rely on. And a lot of the businesses don't know where to start. So sometimes those folks will come into our front doors, and we certainly try to use our membership with the chamber to help them get with trusted partners that can actually help them navigate that process. They can get set up the right way, avoid some speed bumps along the way, and then actually get into their business, which is what they're trying to do in the first place. So with the right professionals at your side, you definitely can do it, and they will, of course, help you minimize those costs as well, just by not making mistakes along the way.
Rebekah, I kind of want to ask you the same thing. I know that we talked a little bit about it in just what it takes to launch a small business and what it takes to kind of the financial backing to get started. I mean, from your perspective, Rebekah.
I think people always have this vision in their mind where it's going to cost them tens of thousands of dollars to get started. But sometimes if they're able to start in their home, it's just, getting the business licenses. Starting from ground zero is scary, but there's a lot of steps and resources in the community that these entrepreneurs can take so that their idea can get on the path of being, a year down the road. We're seeing lots of business owners come to us and say, I've been putting this off for years. I'm ready. Help me, connect me with those resources. Or like Lauren said, those trusted partners in the community that have already gone down that route and are able to guide them along the way.
Commissioner Starkey, what is the government's role here? I mean, federal, state, local, there's oversight to look out for the consumers. I mean, beyond that, do governments have a vested interest in having small businesses succeed?
I do believe they do, and sometimes it's to get out of the way, but sometimes it's to offer a helping hand. I know what we've done here in Pasco with our Penny for Pasco. We have an Office of Economic Growth, and we help our small businesses with some support programs. For example, we will waive mobility fee. We have mobility fee reductions if you have 25 employees or less. We also can do a zero interest 5-year capital loan to support expansion and new equipment purchases up to $100,000. Something that the state did a few years ago for manufacturers was to exempt equipment from sales tax. So I think that government can offer some help. I do think it can be difficult to navigate all the different steps you have to take. So organizations like the ones that these two ladies belong to, that your local chamber, your local offices of economic growth are great places for people who are looking to get into a small business. It's a great place for them to go look for help. It's not an easy thing to do. But I think it can be very rewarding, and there's a lot of help out there if you know where to reach out for it.
And Commissioner, I want to follow up with you. What's been the effect of online retailers like Amazon, to small businesses? I know you have some people like me. I still like the brick and mortar field. It took me a while to catch on to the Amazon craze. So I got to go into the grocery store. I like connecting with people. But there are others, that say, this is a little bit of a different time we're in now. Does Amazon devastate brick and mortar stores? Do small businesses need physical locations to succeed, or can they be, either online based?
Something that we've seen here is that, well, first of all, with the state collecting sales tax on everybody, that's really helped level the field for small businesses versus these online retailers. But I think you see a real shift in experiences in shopping. So I think people need to be mindful of letting people experience something when they go to their small business or their store. They just have to. It has to be a great environment and a very welcoming environment, and more than in the past, because you want people to come in, be welcome, and return, because it's so darn easy to shop online. And so I'm a hands-on person still myself. I rarely shop online.
All right, Commissioner Starkey, thank you so much. I know that you have to go. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. And Rebekah, Lauren, we will have a quick break right now. So hang on. We'll talk to you guys more in just a bit. In Focus back here in just a few minutes here on Spectrum Networks. Back on In Focus, talking about Small Business Week. All right, I know, Lauren, you talked a bit about the small businesses you are involved with. Tell us a little bit more about your background and how this all came together for you.
Sure. I went to UCF and graduated in 2004. I got a degree in digital media, so not necessarily what I'm doing now, but a lot of those lessons learned in college did transfer. I worked for a production company for a few years, and that actually ended up being my husband's sister's company, so we met along the way. And after he got out of the Army, we came back and got involved in the commercial real estate business, which is his family business. I started managing our business and storage park on a part-time basis just to make sure that it was working out well for myself and the family. And thankfully it did. As I'm sure many people know, a family dynamic can be interesting in business, but we seem to manage it very well. So I've been there since 2010, managing the business in Storage Park. I got my commercial real estate license in 2013, which allowed me to lease out our shopping centers for our commercial real estate company. And then I joined the chamber in 2015 to get more involved in the community for our businesses to support others. And then that also allowed me the opportunity to speak with those small businesses and help them find their first location or move out of the home like Rebekah was talking about and get that presence in the community once they're ready to take that step.
Nice. Talk about an interesting path there. That's pretty neat. Rebekah, what was the driving force that got you to where you are today with the Seminole County Chamber of Commerce?
I think it goes all the way back to when I was in college at Rollins, and they really drove home the importance of being involved in your community. My first internship in college required me to attend chamber events and get involved in meeting other businesses, understanding what's going on in the community, and I've kind of just loved the industry ever since.
Awesome, awesome. I want to go ahead and continue our conversation that we were talking about. Lauren, I know that there are incentives out there for people looking to start small businesses, and maybe even more basic than that. What's the right way to go about starting up a business for those who may be watching and say, hey, I've been thinking about this for a while now. I really want to, try my look at starting up the business and see where it takes me.
Definitely. I think that one of the first steps is joining a chamber of commerce, because as Rebekah mentioned, and as I've experienced myself, the amount of resources they have available to you are resources you just might not know about or be able to discover on your own as you're trying to start up your business at the same time. So Chamber of Commerce is one, going down to your local government office as well. So whether that's a city or a county that's responsible for the area you're trying to set up, I would go speak with them and their planning and development departments, get to know them, ask the questions, making sure you're getting things set up right. You can also go to your business tax receipt or occupational license office as well. But for example, like Seminole State has a wonderful business incubator program that you might not know about, but for businesses that are starting up, they even have office space, and the chamber is somebody that can put you in touch with those type of organizations to help support you.
Rebekah, we've always heard things like restaurants are the worst businesses to start up because most go under within a year. And this was before the pandemic. Was the pandemic sort of a level the playing field, if so to speak, event where the strong restaurants were able to keep going and the ones that were actually struggling, in the before times just got in farther over their heads as COVID kind of had an impact on everything?
I think the restaurant industry, like any industry that requires a lot of really good, skilled employees, is always hard. We're hearing everybody has job openings all the time, and restaurants are no exception. But those restaurants that are really good at what they do and took the opportunity to change during the shutdown, and maybe they started specializing in family take-home meals or things like that, are the ones that really were able to shine in what they do and set themselves apart. Every industry right now, we hear it almost daily, they're looking for employees, and restaurants are no exception.
It's all about our evolution here. It seems like, things change as we are impacted by change. So, Lauren, talk to us about what I would call these third-party storefronts, online entities. We're talking about things like eBay and Etsy and Cafe Press and so on forth. There are so many different ones out there. Are these outlets a good way for a potential small business owner to say, hey, I want to get my feet wet, I want to try my hand at this? Or are they so far removed from the small business world that there's nothing to learn or gain from that experience?
Sure. I think there's definitely value depending on the product you have. We are a very service-based business. So for us, that brick and mortar and physical presence is crucial to our success. However, for folks with products, there can be a hybrid of the brick and mortar and an online presence, or maybe you just need a small warehouse and just an online presence is the right thing for you. So I think depending on the product, depending on the market, how specialized you are, that definitely determines what presence you need. But even those brick and mortar, they can still have competitive advantages as far as offering personalized services. The customer service can be exceptional. Some folks still want that face-to-face interaction. So your physical locations can really take advantage of that and cultivate that and give people what they're looking for instead of chatting with some sort of messaging app online or something like that, or using a kiosk. So I think it really depends on the business type. Sometimes a hybrid and having both is the right way to go.
Insightful conversation here, but we want to take one more quick time out, so hang on. In Focus back here in just a minute on Spectrum Networks. All right, we're back here for our final few minutes on In Focus. Want to continue our conversation here. We're talking small businesses. All right, Rebekah, we've talked about starting a small business. Are there opportunities to invest in small businesses? Does that process even exist?
I'm not really sure on the process, but I do know there are groups that focus on investing in small businesses and entrepreneurs. I'm not involved in that process at all, but I know that there's different organizations that can connect entrepreneurs with resources and people that may want to be angel investors.
And speaking of connecting, Lauren, how does networking factor into small businesses and factor into success? We know it's super important sometimes when you have to connect and meet people. I mean, that's the way you kind of talk about products and what you may have on the offer there to sell to your clients.
I think building relationships is critical, especially in our businesses, to being successful beyond just a transaction, getting to know that customer, getting to know their needs. I have customers we've had for many, many years at our business and storage park that come in. Obviously, they pay their rent, but they also want to talk about something that their grandkid just experienced. We love that. We're a family-owned business. We strive to deliver exceptional customer service, and that does require getting to know people. And in our networking, I try to build business relationships with people beyond just a handshake, so that way I know that I can trust them 100%. If somebody comes to me and says there's a need they have, I can refer them to a trusted individual that I know will take care of it from point A to B.
Rebekah, where can people go to find out more about starting a small business? I'd imagine there are some more resources available than just the Small Business for Dummies book, right?
Yeah, I mean, on our website, seminolebusiness.org, we have a ton of resources, and the SBDC is also a great resource. And many people also forget about it, but our public library system has more resources there than you could even imagine, and they can help connect you and guide you through the process.
All right, Lauren, is there an easy path to success for a potential small business owner, or is it guaranteed to be basically blood, sweat, and tears 24/7 for the foreseeable future?
Oh, I sure hope not. No blood, sweat, and tears. No, I think there is. I think it does, again, come to your industry, what you need, and the support you need around you. Whatever your highest and best use is, maybe that is your business, that is definitely what you should focus on, and you should have businesses around you that can support you in the other things that are not your highest and best use. Because if you're chasing all of that to get started, then yes, you probably will have some speed bumps and maybe just give up along the way. And we certainly don't want that. So finding those trusted resources to help you get started and be successful, that's the way to do it. You do not have to do it all on your own.
Success is the goal here. That's what everybody is hoping for and striving for. Panel, both of you, thank you so much for your time this week. I know you're all supporting Small Business Week this week. We definitely appreciate the time we all shared. Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching us here on In Focus. I'm Curtis McLeod. We'll see you again next week right here on In Focus.